The man who failed 10,000 times before changing the world forever. What if I told you that failure is your superpower? Right now, as you read these words, you're surrounded by Edison's genius. The light illuminating your screen, the electricity powering your device, the very idea that innovation comes from persistence, all of this traces back to a boy who was once called too stupid to learn anything. This isn't just Thomas Edison's biography. This is your roadmap to turning every setback into a stepping stone toward greatness. From his days as an inquisitive child to becoming history's most celebrated inventors, his path overflows with wisdom that will motivate you to persist regardless of life's hardships. Should you believe your failures are too numerous, this narrative will demonstrate how each setback merely brings you one step nearer to victory. Let us embark on exploring Thomas Edison's remarkable existence. On February 11, 1847, in Milan, Ohio, Thomas Edison entered the world as the seventh and youngest child. Even during childhood, his distinctiveness was apparent. His curiosity knew no bounds. Endless questions flowed from him about his surroundings. The sun's radiance, birds' flight, clocks' mechanisms, everything fascinated him. His educators, however, failed to recognize this curiosity as talent. A frustrated teacher once declared to his mother, "Thomas is addled. Learning like other children is impossible for him." Such words might have shattered many, but Thomas's story took a different turn. Nancy Edison, his mother, rejected the teacher's assessment entirely. School was abandoned in favor of home education under her guidance. "Slowness isn't your trait," Nancy assured her son. "Your gift lies in perceiving the world uniquely, and someday you'll demonstrate your extraordinary nature to everyone." These words ignited Thomas's inner fire. Years later, Edison would reflect, "My mother shaped who I became. Her unwavering faith and certainty in me gave me purpose, someone I couldn't disappoint." Many remain unaware of this story's hidden chapter. After Nancy's passing, Thomas discovered an old-school correspondence. The letter's contents were harsh. "Mental illness renders your son unfit for educational attendance. Further schooling is impossible." His mother had concealed this cruel truth, instead telling him, "Your brilliance exceeds this school's capacity. Their teachers lack the intelligence to educate you properly." This protective deception provided Edison with self-confidence when the world offered none. How fortunate are those who possess such unwavering support! Nancy transformed their home into a learning sanctuary, filling it with books and encouraging exploration. Thomas's love for science blossomed early. At 10, his first laboratory occupied their basement. Hours were spent combining chemicals, often producing peculiar odors and minor explosions. Scientific pursuits weren't his only interest. Entrepreneurship called to him as well. At 12, newspapers, snacks, and candies were sold on trains to support his family financially. Even while working, experiments continued. A miniature laboratory was established in a train baggage car. An experimental fire aboard the train resulted in the conductor's fury and his ejection from service. Yet this setback failed to deter him. During these formative years, hearing loss affected Thomas significantly. Scarlet fever, or a conductor's rough handling when pulling him onto a moving train, the cause remains debated. Rather than self-pity, Edison viewed this partial deafness as beneficial. "My hearing loss became my salvation," he once observed. "Complete focus on my work became possible." While employed as a telegraph operator, Edison rescued a 3-year-old from an oncoming runaway train. The grateful father, himself a telegraph operator, taught Thomas telegraph operation as thanks. This skill became pivotal in Edison's journey, providing income while experimental work continued. Early inventions met with failure. His first creation, an electric vote recorder, found no buyers despite months of development. Rather than surrender, Edison extracted valuable wisdom. Never create what people don't require. Closer observation of the world began, seeking problems requiring solutions. Poverty once forced him to sleep in a friend's office basement, yet self-belief remained intact. Giving up represents our greatest weakness, he often stated. Success's most reliable path involves trying just once more. Edison's initial significant triumph came through stock ticker improvements, a financial market device. This invention generated $40,000, a considerable fortune then. With these funds, his first laboratory was established in Menlo Park, New Jersey, where true magic commenced. Day and night work became routine, with only brief sleep periods. Luck held no appeal for him. Hard work was his creed. Genius comprises 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, became his famous declaration. At Menlo Park, his invention factory, Edison and his team labored tirelessly on a world-changing device, the electric light bulb. However, the path to bulb creation was far from simple. Over 1,000 experiments were conducted, seeking the perfect filament material. Each failure could have crushed his spirit, but Edison's character wouldn't permit surrender. When questioned about these failures, his response was remarkable. "Failure hasn't occurred. I've simply discovered 10,000 unsuccessful methods." This perspective of viewing failure as success's stepping stone became his greatness foundation. After years of relentless effort, 1879 brought Edison's triumph. A light bulb burning for 13.5 hours was created, an unprecedented achievement. The joy, relief, and accomplishment after such dedicated work must have been overwhelming. For Edison, this marked merely the beginning. Bulb invention wasn't sufficient. Bringing light to every home, street, and corner worldwide was his vision. Making this vision reality required constructing the world's first electric power station in New York City in 1882. When activated, hundreds of homes illuminated simultaneously for the first time. People who had lived entirely with candles and gas lamps could now experience electricity's magic. Edison hadn't merely invented a product, a new lifestyle was created. While Edison transformed the world, personal challenges filled his life. Mary Stilwell, his first wife, married in 1871, passed away suddenly in 1884 at just 29 years old. Her death left Edison devastated. Losing someone deeply loved was among his life's hardest moments. Even facing such sorrow, Edison found strength to continue. Work became his coping mechanism, throwing himself completely into it. "When all possibilities seem exhausted, remember this: you haven't," he once said, reflecting his life philosophy of constant forward movement regardless of circumstances. 2 years after Mary's death, Edison met and married Mina Miller, a woman 19 years his junior. Mina became his life partner, providing necessary love and support for continued work. Together, they had 3 children, joining the 3 from his first marriage. His children described him as loving yet busy, a father who consistently encouraged curiosity and creativity. Edison's success in bringing electricity worldwide wasn't without challenges. The infamous War of Currents represented his biggest battle. Edison advocated direct current, DC, while his former employee, Nikola Tesla, championed alternating current, AC. This inventor rivalry became science history's most famous conflict. Edison's competitive nature led him to publicly demonstrate AC's dangers, proving his point. Despite his efforts, AC eventually became electricity distribution standard. Though Edison lost this battle, his legacy remained unaffected. Innovation and invention continued, proving that setbacks could never truly defeat him. In 1877, Edison invented something that amazed the world: the phonograph, the first sound recording and playback machine. People called it miraculous. Imagine hearing a past voice for the first time. This invention earned Edison the nickname the Wizard of Menlo Park. Edison himself considered the phonograph his favorite invention. Millions found joy through it, paving the way for today's music and entertainment industries. In 1914, tragedy struck Edison's laboratory. A massive fire erupted, destroying years of work and millions of dollars worth of equipment. At 67, Edison stood outside his burning laboratory, watching everything he'd built turn to ashes. Instead of despair, Edison's response to his son was extraordinary. "Get your mother and all her friends. They'll never witness a fire like this again." Mourning the loss wasn't Edison's way. The very next day, rebuilding commenced. "Tears are for the young, but starting over knows no age limit," he famously declared. This resilience, this refusal to surrender, made Edison legendary. As Edison aged, new invention work continued. Over 1,000 patents were filed during his lifetime. Close friendship with Henry Ford, Ford Motor Company's founder, developed. The two men frequently spent time together, discussing ideas and inspiring each other. His later years saw Edison advocate for renewable energy, experimenting with batteries and sustainable power sources. Even in his 80s, curiosity and learning passion remained strong. On October 18, 1931, Thomas Edison passed away at 84. His death marked an era's end, but his legacy continues shining. Edison's life testified to perseverance, curiosity, and hard work's power. Hard work, stick-to-itiveness, and common sense, these are the three great essentials for achieving anything worthwhile, he once said. These words remain as true today as then. Edison didn't just invent the light bulb or phonograph. He invented a mindset, a thinking method that has inspired millions. Edison's life didn't end with his 1931 passing. His inventions, mindset, and legacy continue shaping the world for generations. To truly understand Edison's greatness, we must explore his influence depths, the lessons he left behind, and humanity's everlasting light he brought. Success for Edison wasn't about brilliant ideas alone. It was about working harder than anyone else to make those ideas reality. His relentless work ethic was legendary. While others rested, Edison pushed forward, often sleeping only hours nightly on a small laboratory cot. His goal-focusing ability and distraction-ignoring skill were legendary. Every wasted minute represented a missed opportunity to create something extraordinary, he believed. By his death, Edison had accumulated 1,093 patents, a then record. His true genius wasn't just invention quantity, but how those inventions transformed the world. His work laid the modern electrical grid's foundation, revolutionized communication, and created industries like recorded music and motion pictures. Many technologies we use today, from smartphones to electric cars, can trace their origins to Edison's discoveries. Yet Edison remained humble about his achievements. When asked about his incredible success, he would say, "A better way always exists. Find it." This continuous improvement belief inspired countless individuals to keep striving for excellence. Edison wasn't just an inventor, he was a visionary leader. His Menlo Park laboratory was among the world's first research and development centers. Brilliant minds surrounded him, and he fostered collaboration and creativity culture. Edison taught his team never to fear failure. If experiments didn't work, they analyzed, learned, and tried again. This approach created an environment where ideas flourished and breakthroughs became possible. His leadership style was firm yet kind. Young inventor mentoring was his belief, and wisdom was often shared with them. Giving up is our greatest weakness. Success's most certain way is always trying just once more, he would tell them.
As Edison aged, the world began recognizing his contributions' magnitude. Countless honors, awards, and accolades were received, including the Congressional Gold Medal in 1928. Kings, presidents, and scientists from around the globe admired his work.
When Edison passed away, his death was marked by a gesture symbolizing his impact. On his funeral night, cities across America turned off their electric lights for 1 minute in his honor. Streets illuminated by his genius went dark, allowing the world to reflect on the man who had brought light into their lives. Edison's personal life was also filled with challenges. Work and family balance was never easy, and important moments in his children's lives were often missed. Yet he always encouraged them to pursue their passions and believe in their abilities. What makes Thomas Edison's story truly remarkable isn't just what he invented, but what he represented: human potential's power. His life was a masterclass in perseverance, curiosity, and courage. Edison's mindset can be summed up in his own words. Teaching men how to think is civilization's most important task. Everyone had the capacity to dream big and achieve greatness, he believed. All it required was willingness to work hard, learn from failure, and keep believing in oneself. 4 essential lessons from Edison's life. 1. Embrace failure. Edison's journey teaches us that failure isn't the end, but success's stepping stone. Every failure is a lesson, bringing us closer to our goals. 2. Work hard. Success has no shortcuts. Edison's tireless work ethic reminds us that dedication and effort are greatness achievement's keys. 3. Stay curious. Edison never stopped learning or experimenting. His curiosity drove him to explore new ideas and push possibility boundaries. 4. Never give up. Whether creating the light bulb or rebuilding after a fire, Edison's persistence was unshakable. Setbacks never stopped him. Edison's story isn't just about a man who invented the light bulb. It's about a man who lit up the world with his ideas, passion, and unbreakable spirit. Today, more than 90 years after his death, Edison's legacy continues shining. Every time we flip a light switch, listen to music, or watch a movie, we're reminded of the man who made it all possible. Here's a question that will haunt you. What's your excuse? As we reach the end of this extraordinary journey, I want you to stop and ask yourself something uncomfortable. If Edison, labeled as mentally ill by his school, partially deaf, poor enough to sleep in basements, could reshape the entire world, what's your excuse for not chasing your dreams? You think your challenges are too big? Edison faced 10,000 failures before creating the light bulb. You think you're not smart enough? Teachers called Edison addled and unfit for learning. You think you're not smart enough? Edison sold newspapers on trains and slept in his friend's basement. The brutal truth: someone out there, right now, with fewer advantages than you, is achieving the dream you've been putting off. They're not smarter, luckier, or more talented. They simply started. Your Edison moment is waiting. The light bulb wasn't just Edison's invention, it was his message to humanity. Even in the deepest darkness, there's always a spark of possibility waiting to ignite. So here's my challenge to you. What will you start today? What problem will you solve? What impossible dream will you chase? Remember Edison's words. Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. Your overalls are waiting. Your work is calling. Your light is ready to shine. The question isn't whether you can succeed. Edison proved that. Ordinary people can do extraordinary things. The only question is, are you ready to stop making excuses and start making history? Your journey begins now. Light up your world.